Okay, so Joy 6 is today. Just a quick note, Joy 6 is a wargame show dedicated to 6mm. It's been run by Bacchus, which is probably one of the premier 6mm companies on the market, and they've been running it for about 10 years, give or take a year, and it's in Sheffield, and it's run every year. Let's talk a little bit about 6mm. Mitch, before we get into the show and what was at the show and all the rest of it. 6mm is quite popular in a few historical periods, and those include Napoleonic Wars, which spans the entire Napoleonic period, not just like the Peninsular War or Waterloo or something like that. It covers the whole of the sort of period from the late 18th century to the early 19th century of that period of warfare. And it works quite well in 6mm because it offers the ability to play out big epic battles and grand strategies, and it allows players to basically have large-scale clashes of armies, as well as tactical manoeuvring of infantry, cavalry, and artillery, and this is one of the reasons why it's quite popular in 6mm. But it's generally quite a popular period across all the scales, Napoleonic. The next period is one of the next popular periods are probably World War One and World War Two, and pretty much there's primarily for one reason: tanks. 6mm allows players to play out big, large-scale tank battles. World War One, players don't have as many options available to them because obviously tank technology was very limited at the time when it came into the latter part of the war. But World War Two offers a real big expansion in the technology of the tank, depending on which part of the World War Two you play. So if you play early, you tend to get faster and more manoeuvrable tanks, such as the Panzer ones and stuff like that. And then obviously, as you go mid and late, you get different tanks, and towards the end of the war, you start getting some of the big main battle tanks. Stuff was being produced by the Allies to counter the sort of the big Tiger 1s, Tiger 2s, and Panthers of the German army. Another popular period is ancient and medieval for 6mm, and that's again because it allows players to field large armies on a large scale, something they can't do at, say, a bigger scale, say it's 28mm, because they don't have the table size. But on a 6x4 with 6mm, you could literally field a massive army against each other. But these periods offer quite a diverse sort of armies as well. So if you go back really back ancients, you can have ancient Egyptians with chariots, or Celts with chariots, right up to sort of medieval knights with, and everything in between, the phalanxes and the Roman legions and stuff like that. One of the other popular periods are the English Civil War and the American Civil War, and both of them give players a different sort of tactical complexity and unique battlefield strategies because of the weapons from both of those sort of periods. In English Civil War, you had pike and musket, as well as cavalry and artillery, and in the American Civil War, the gunpowder weapons had progressed significantly more by that period. Percussion caps have been introduced, stuff like that, and it was similar to Napoleonic in a way, but different, and that gives people the ability also to play, like again, I said again, with big scale battles. And then one of the other ones is modern warfare, and that's predominantly because these are battles, modern battles, basically from World War II right through to today, have a focus on combined armed warfare. So you can field tanks, artillery, armoured personnel carriers, helicopters. You know, it gives you that whole ability to field everything you would see on a modern battlefield at a 6mm scale. So it's quite popular with a lot of gamers, especially sort of Cold War conflicts and stuff like that, or playing like alternatives of sort of Cold War gone hot. And 6mm works quite well because you can field the infantry, you can field the APCs, you can field the tanks, variety of tanks, you can field artillery, you can field the helicopters. You could, in real modern, you can field drones and stuff like that. So there's a whole sort of possibilities there, and that's why 6mm is quite a popular choice within wargaming, because it gives them those abilities to expand into big scale battlefields, which say 28mm doesn't allow for, but simply because of the size of the scale and the size of table you would need to play a 28mm scale massive battlefield. I'm back from Joy 6. It's not a bad little show. It's not a huge one, but it's nice and sort of compact. There's quite a lot of gaming tables to have a look at. There's quite a few traders there. Did I buy any 6mm? I bought a couple of dragons, which you'll probably get used in 10mm. I bought some 6mm. I don't know. They're like Chaos, Nazgul sort of type things. I'll get a better image of them. And I'm thinking I can probably get them away with them as in 10mm games. But they'll be nice to paint up. That'll be the first sort of 6mm I will have done. The dragons are quite big. Here's the Asian one. And he is quite a chunky size. And then there was a sort of typical fantasy dragon with, and I've got some wings for him there, and I think these will work quite fine with sort of 10mm stuff rather than 6mm. Other than that, I picked up a 15mm troop carrier for my sci-fi 15mm. I picked up a piece of terrain, which will go with for the 10mm stuff. And then I picked up the English Civil War parliamentarian commanders. Again, not 6mm. Was I tempted by any 6mm? I think there was one that tempted me, and that was on the backer stand, and that was the new Pony Wars. And I got some pictures of those, but I didn't pick any up. I wasn't 100%, so I didn't get it. But that was the only one that tempted me. But I think that was because it had there's a fort for it, you know, the traditional sort of US military sort of cavalry fort that you see in all the sort of Western films that it had. There were wagon trains, there were Indian teepees and stuff like that, and then there was other bits and pieces of terrain. So you could do the whole sort of cowboy the Apache wars or the Indian wars out in the Wild West. You could recreate something like Battle of Bighorn in 6mm. That was the only one that tempted me, and there was a set of rules for it as well. But I didn't pick it up today. It wasn't enough to get for me to pick it up there and then. I might have to think about that, but I might go into it. I don't know. But overall, it was a pretty good show. It was split over 3 rooms in the Sheffield Hallam University. There was the catering from the Sheffield University. So, you know, it was a pretty good show, and it's pretty central. It's not far from the train station. It's quite easy to get to. I believe there's parking nearby. I didn't park nearby. I parked some further distance away and walked down. But it's the city centre's quite accessible from where the show was, and there's plenty of other wargame shows. So if you're visiting that show you want to go next year, the wargame independent wargame stores aren't too far away. There's 2 nearby, and then you've got another one further down on the moor, just off the moor, Patriot Games, and then obviously you've got a Games Workshop down near there as well. So, like I said, yeah, there's plenty of stuff close by to where the show is, which means there's plenty of, if you don't want to eat at the show, there's plenty of other places within the local area for you to go and eat, and then there's a couple of pubs nearby as well. So location wise, it's a pretty good show for location wise. It's not a huge show. It's quite a small, nicely compact show, and it is 6mm. But there are traders there selling other bits and pieces, but those are predominantly sort of around the 15mm scale. There wasn't anything bigger. Regular miniatures that were there, they had their stand for 28mm, but they didn't bring any 28mm. They just brought the stand showcasing what they do in 28. But overall, it's not a bad little show, and I'd go again next year. Anyway, cheers. See you next time.